we'll start with the first one. So we'll get to what Hutch said because there were some great things that stood out to me. But here you go.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've reached a new level this year in pass rush, and I mean just body comp in general. Just I feel like that's what happens when you just stack years in professional sports. Your body comp gets better. You get more flexible. You get more bend. You get more. It's just everything that you want. And as long as you're treating your body, mind, and soul right every year, it only compounds.
Well,
beautiful thing to hear.
Boy, looking swole.
Yeah, and he mentioned that he called it the body comp. All right, the composition, how it's improved. Hutch was already pretty jacked coming out of college, but he
every year he just keeps getting bigger too.
Well, it's that rookie year to second year. You change your eating habits, you become more of a pro, and now he's going to his third year, so now he's changing even more. Or at least just doing more of the same things consistently. But Hutch, there's another level that man can get to. Let's play one more clip, and then we'll break down both here. So here's the Aiden Hutchinson speaking to the media.
What do you think of that narrative that's out there?
What do I think of that statement? Is that what you're asking me?
Do you agree with it? Do you hear it? Do you...
I'm just gonna pass on that question. I feel like I feel like it's a lose-lose situation, so I'm just gonna pass on that one.
We'll probably ask you.
The doc over in the corner there too.
Yeah, shout out to the doc, by the way. He was in the background of the video.
I'm not going to do that. Never mind.
Well, before we get to the Hutch taking that next step, can we just address that? I mean, what did you expect Hutch to say there, for being honest?
Nothing. Nothing. And if people don't know, he got asked about the help from the edge rush on the other side. Like, does he think that he needs help over there? It's like, yeah, you know how someone's going to answer that question. He's not going to throw the other edges under the group. And real quick too, right before that question, they did ask him about Marcus Davenport, and he was like, Marcus Davenport is an absolute dog. He dominates people and he runs through people. Like he gave him his flowers, and then they asked him, well, do you need help over there? And he said, I'm not going to comment. Guys, I don't know if that's more so of just like playing it safe, or it's like, yeah, like in his head, he's like, well, yeah, I need help. Like, yeah, I need something over here. And he just doesn't want to say it to dig a hole or anything. I feel like it's more so of that.
In my opinion, I think, to your point, he's playing it safe, because if he knew he had a dude, he'd be like, well, do you not know who James Houston is? Do you not know? Have you not heard? Like, yeah. I just think it'd be one of those responses. And it doesn't mean that there's bums on the other side of him, but to your point and to what the question was being asked, is there another guy that can pretty much pick up the slack if you can? And on the other side of it, I don't see it. Brad potentially does, but I think even Brad knows that the Lions can improve there. We said it yesterday. It's the weakness of this team, honestly. So for Aiden to be asked pretty much, is that a weakness? He's putting a lot of guys on the spot, because if he calls out James Houston saying he's going to be good, well, what about Marcus Davenport? If he calls out Marcus Davenport, what about James Houston? So to his point, it's a lose-lose.
Lose for sure. It's a tough situation. Question.
I guess he could have been like, the professional answer, like the PR here. Hear me out. Okay, I'm Aiden Hutchinson. You asked me that question. I go, I think on the other side, and just in this defensive line, I'm excited. We got some guys that I think could definitely make an impact. James Houston, he's going to be healthy this season, hopefully, and I think he can make some noise. I mean, you got Marcus Davenport. I think we have a lot of depth. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out this season, but I'm confident in who we have.
That'd be it's a well-spoken response. Or you could just say,
So it's like I call that word salad. You said a lot without really saying anything. All right. That's like I'm confident in what we have in that room. DJ Reader, you can really just milk that. But like you guys said, he's not going to probably do it. I think he even knows, and they all know, like, he needs help.
But it almost might be worse that he did say, I'm not going to answer, because now the speculation starts to hit to where we're all like, especially like me, and like we could have the conversation to where, he didn't want to answer the question because he knows he needs help and they don't have enough in the room. Like, there's that speculation side. So I don't know. It was an interesting comment. I don't think there's much to it, but if someone wants to run with it, they can. Hutch, by the way, too, if you guys didn't watch this interview, he looks just that much more mature as well, to where he's more comfortable in their year 3. You could just tell he's like, after going through that playoff run, some of these guys, like, you could see guys actually grow and mature, like, in front of our eyes. And to see Hutch, like, if you watch the interview his rookie year to now, night and day difference. Like, it's unbelievable.
I think Hutch is one of those guys that just he's got to feel it out before he becomes more of like a a vocal leader and starts speaking up, that's just being comfortable in any scenario. That's how a lot of people are. Like now that he's going to his third year, he's a little more, chest is out. He knows, okay, I'm Aiden Hutchinson. I'm a legitimate dude, and I can kind of speak up a little bit. I think as a rookie, you just kind of you hold back a lot, and you're like, I'm just kind of, it's like the bright lights. Like I'm just in the NFL. Now he's starting to get comfortable, and I'm excited. I think Aiden Hutchinson has Defensive Player of the Year talent. I think this year the expectation should be, anywhere. I think with DJ and even hopefully a healthy Davenport or, a James Houston, and that secondary that's revamped and they added more corners. Now he's going to get a little more time out there to at least rush the passer. I think he can get a minimum 15 sacks. I think that's minimum 15.
I love that. No, I think that's last year we asked for 15 in year 2 and he went out there and got 11 and a half. And then with the playoffs, he had more sacks than Myles Garrett combined in the season. So like him saying that he has another level that he's going to hit too makes you think he's about to have a year. Like this is, you see a lot of defensive edges, kind of that jump year. The reason I think a lot of people thought year 1 to year 2 for Hutch was because guys like, what were the examples? Like Nick Bosa's and stuff took that year 1 to year 2 jump. I think this is going to be that year 2 to year 3 to where you see like Hutch is now going to go to that elite level. And just like he said, like you just stack years and as you're in the NFL and you're a pro, dude, you just keep getting better and better. And like you're the more experienced. Now you have Terrell Williams in there to help you out. You have more coaches to sit there and say, do this. Like everything seems to be falling in line for him. I don't want this to sound weird, but his body, like development from like him being at Michigan to now, he's gotten so much bigger. And like him saying like he can, like his lean is way better. Him being able to kind of his mobility, everything getting better in year 3. Like that just is like, it just screams success. I cannot wait. 15 sacks seems like it's going to be easy for him next year.
It's steep. I wouldn't say minimum, but I think 15 is reasonable. I think that's a reasonable number. I think anything above 13 and a half is where he needs to be, just because to his point, there's not somebody on the outside, but DJ Reader, you saw what Trey Hendrickson's production was, and I think Aiden's better than Trey Hendrickson. So there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel there, but I don't know. 15 just a lot for any NFL player. Max Crosby, I know he doesn't have help, had 14 and a half. There's a lot of good NFL defensive ends who get less than 15. So if he comes up shy of 15, but he's still making a huge impact, I'm not really going to care because I know he's going to get more than 12. As long as he gets more than 12 to 13, I'm happy. And I think he's easily going to reach that.
And I think he will. And maybe minimum's aggressive, but I think he'll get 15 sacks. Is that a better way of saying it? I think he will get 15.
Like Micah got 14 last year. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think 15 as a minimum, and I'm like,
Yeah, but like,
think about this. 15 sacks. I think that's the number.
Minimum maybe is crazy just because that's a high number to put a minimum on. But if you do think about how he finished the season last year, like through the playoffs, he essentially was getting like a sack a game, if not more, through that stretch of football. So it's like it seemed like there's something that he figured out down the stretch. And it wasn't like it was just, hey, we went up against easy opponents. Like it was like Dallas, Tampa, LA, 49. Like those were tough opponents at the end of the season. Like it seemed like he finally figured something out towards the stretch down the stretch to where it's like, okay, now let's carry that over to next year. I just figured out like what I'm supposed to be doing here in this league. And he figured it out quick. And then like dude, it was like what are those? It was like a dominoes effect. Like as soon as he figured it out, like he just took that next step. And then those last 6 games, he looked like one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And now if you carry that over, 15 seems like if he's doing that production for all 17 games, that's scary. Like that's literally, you're going to be sitting there Defensive Player of the Year on top of interceptions and, fumbles and all of that he does do as well. Like he's going to have a year.
Well, here's 500 Verse Legion. Thank you for the $2. Says Goff, JMO heating up in OTAs today. Booner Path. We'll get to it in a little bit because we're going to talk about JMO. Thank you.
Booner Path here.
Legion. We appreciate you. Steve Lehman became a member for 3 months. He says, "Is 20 sacks in 17 games talking crazy for Hutch?" I think 20. That's like we're approaching record.
DJ Watt, like
we're approaching record. I'm not saying it can't be done, but what I'm saying is this year to say 20 sacks. Yeah, you're hoping a lot of dominoes fall your way, like a lot of things. That's like basically a sack a game, and then you get a sack and a half every couple games, like and a couple games for the entire season. That's pretty little aggressive. Like I think 15 for Hutch. He had what do you have 11 and a half last year?
Yeah,
and there was a probably about a month or so, a little over. I'm not exactly sure. We didn't get a sack. So, I think around 15. You want to say 14? You want to say 16? I don't care. I think around 15 will be fair. I just think DJ is going to be is going to help out significantly because of what he demands. He's going to demand a double team. I think Aleem being more of a pass rush threat, and I'm probably assuming that you have a healthy Davenport too, because if once you get John Kamish out there, maybe the chances of that to go a little down, but I think he can go out there and just absolutely dominate. That's the point I'm trying to make. He has all the tools.